I am almost homesick for the Florida that I knew growing up in the 90s.
They don't actually truly care about this country.
We don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you wake up?
Hey everybody, if you support the show and you support what we do, you can go ahead and subscribe to us on Substack at Florida Frontier Uncensored for $8 a month. Paying $8 a month, you unlock exclusive articles, you get exclusive videos, documentaries, and whatever else is in the making in the future for just $8 a month. That is one Starbucks coffee a month. If you want to take it a step even further, you can become a founding member by paying $100 annually, and you get to come on the show at some point. Go ahead and subscribe to Florida Frontier Uncensored on Substack for just $8 a month. Alright, yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome to Florida Frontier. Good evening. Now we're going to have to deal with me eating my dinner tonight. You know, it's okay. Y'all are going to bear through it just fine. It's okay. Introducing Nico. Welcome back to the show, Nico. How are you doing?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm doing great tonight.
Good. So Nico, he came in on the show, I don't know, probably like, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, probably more than that. I think that's almost been like a month now, maybe a little more.
Give or take. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I got to check back and see that. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the Jews tonight because, you know, everything's about the Jews. The Jews are just behind everything. What do you think about awesome. That? Should we talk about the Jews?
We can if you want
the
to.
Jews in Israel?
Immediately start JQing. Right after I just shared this link publicly.
Yeah. Anyways, public announcement being made. And he's the first to hear it, too. I will be hosting a governor debate here in Lake City amongst the 5 governor candidates I interviewed on my channel. So, here in like a week or two, we're gonna be going live. If you randomly just get a notification one day that we're live and you see governor debate, that's what it is. I don't have a date and time for it as of right now, but I'm looking into renting a community center so that way we can. I already got like 4 of them that agreed to coming up here to a debate. So, anyways, that's going to be really exciting. I just have to go rent a community center and then provide the tables and get them all mic'd up and everything. And anyways, I'm going to be hosting. It's going to be really cool. Overall, let's go ahead and dive into other things because that's kind of boring. Nobody, and I say this in a nice way for it, just in case any of the other candidates is watching. Nobody really cares about you zero pollers. So, anyways,
a lot of those right now.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Y'all have potential. You can do whatever you put your mind to. But anyway, moving on a little bit. I have been debating on whether I should do a special for like the 50th, maybe 100th episode. If we hit 1,000 subscribers, I know I was actually just talking about this with you. Remember how you just said, and we both just said we hate mullets, like the hairstyle mullet. If we hit 1,000 subscribers this year, I'm going to get a mullet. So
I think you could rock one. Actually, I think you'd grow it out pretty well.
I don't think so. My hair's already getting too long. I need to cut it.
Oh, too long. I gotta cut the sides for mine. That's an instant mullet, like right there.
Yours is a perm.
Self-conscious now that you said that.
And I say this in the nicest way, but you have my least favorite hairstyle.
That's honestly, I can understand that. Because I see some people with like the short slick back, like you do, like the cut, and I'm like, honestly, it looks better on some people. I was like, I cannot rock that.
I'm just kidding with you, by the way. You rock a perm very well, just so you know.
Thank you.
That's a lot coming from me. But
Took a lot to come out.
Yeah, let me chew my food for a second. Hold on.
You're good.
Let me go ahead and put it on the be right back scene as I get done chewing my food.
No, I honestly, I'm inspired to like do a podcast and just talk about whatever. I'd probably get banned within like the first like episode or two, but.
Let me switch y'all to a scene real quick of me shilling for my Substack while I finish chewing my pizza. Hey everybody, if you support the show and you support what we do, you can go ahead and subscribe to us on Substack at Florida Frontier Uncensored for $8 a month. Paying $8 a month, you unlock exclusive articles, you get exclusive videos, documentaries, and whatever else is in the making in the future for just $8 a month. That is one Starbucks coffee a month. If you want to take it a step even further, you can become a founding member by paying $100 annually, and you get to come on the show at some point. Go ahead and subscribe to Florida Frontier Uncensored on Substack for just $8 a month. All right. We're back. All right, cool. Anyways.
Yeah, time to lock in now.
Yeah, time to lock in. Anyway, so we're going to be getting into one topic tonight, actually, I do want to touch into. Daniel Nokovich, for those of you who actually keep up with my content, and my regulars, if I do have any regulars out there, I know I do. I'm just joking, but if you kept up with my episode for with Daniel Nokovich, whenever I interviewed him a few days ago, since Nico here is not an OG, since he's not loyal to, you know,
I'm a fake patriot, dude. I'm sorry.
since he's not loyal to the allegiance, we were going to go ahead and give him a little bit of a hard time here because he can't really give too much insight on it. But anyways, it's okay. It's okay. But going on to Daniel Nokovich, though, I actually think that he would be a great lieutenant governor, and so much so that I'm going to start talking about it every show of how good of a lieutenant governor I think that Daniel Nokovich is going to be. And I don't say this lightly. I have interviewed many candidates on this channel. Many candidates. Daniel Nokovich is the one where I was like, I want this guy in the state of Florida to be on some sort of leadership position in my state. I want this guy to be one of my leaders. It got to that point, really, it has. And honestly, he is America first. He's Christ first. He's an unapologetic Christian. He's like a Fishback 2.0, really, is what he is. And it's so cool. And I was like, dude, I love you so much, but you know I campaign. You know I'm a Fishback supporter. I was like, you make me want to. I feel like I'm about to cheat on somebody, bro. I'm just like, look, I gave my allegiance to Fishback. I'm not gonna do it, but he's looking pretty fine. I'm not gonna lie. And he's only got like what? Let me check him out on Facebook so I can go ahead and share his Facebook profile on here as well for those of you who want to follow him. He's actually really cool. But excuse me. Let's see. Oh, who messaged me? Oh well. Anyway, Daniel Nokovich right here. I'll go ahead and share my screen for everybody. Uh-oh. Okay, there you go again. Anyways, that kind of cut you off.
Christ is my firm foundation.
Oh, I can't hear the audio. No, I can't hear it.
The entire time I had this guy on my show, everything was Bible this, God that, Jesus did this, Jesus did that. Every single question I asked him, he backed it up with biblical evidence. And for example, he totally trashed the idea of communism and socialism. He hates communism and socialism. And I don't know. I just think he's a perfect lieutenant governor candidate. Overall, I'm just saying, like, this guy, he's definitely legit. And I know I shouldn't be shilling for other candidates here, but he's definitely worth looking into for sure. And I encourage you. What's up?
We got to talk to the boss about him now.
Look, I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying to put a good word in. But anyway. He's definitely worth giving a look into, and and honestly, after y'all are done watching my stream, if I do have anybody watching my stream, because YouTube likes to be stupid and put all of his viewers on YouTube Shorts and not actual streams. But anyway, if y'all are watching my stream, though, I definitely encourage you to, after the stream, go back and watch that interview. It was so good. Honestly, it was my favorite interview I have ever did with somebody. By far, it was my favorite. And, yeah, anyway. So we're going to be kind of moving on a little bit into, I don't really know. I just honestly, I didn't name this episode anything specific. It's just nightly segment or whatever it may be, because I'm just, doing my little checkup with you guys, making y'all well aware I'm still alive.
This is one of those like late night, like Xbox, like talk sessions. That's how I feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm curious though. I originally, with James, I thought he was gonna pick Sabatini as lieutenant governor. I really was for the longest time, and then he just up and ran for a district that we already had. I think Mike Wilnow was in, which is really interesting. I don't know why he chose to run.
So who who I'm predicting is going to be his lieutenant governor?
Who?
Paul Renner.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't think James likes Renner.
I don't know. I messaged James about it, and I kind of
got we call him respectable Renner because he's pretty good. He's pretty decent on a lot of things. I don't know.
I'm not going to mention his name on stream because I know he's very antsy about not wanting to be on social media or whatever. But what is the code name? We'll call him. Never mind. Anyways, somebody that we know. He made a really funny statement about it. So you remember how Joe Biden's thing was riding with Biden?
Yep, riding with Biden.
Yeah, Paul Renner's thing is running with Renner. And for whatever reason, I just thought it was the funniest thing ever. I don't know.
It works. It rolls off the tongue. It works.
It does.
We don't have anything really for our campaign. I don't think we don't have any like quick slogan.
I don't think so.
I mean, yeah, we're kind of just everywhere too. So it's like you already know who we are for the most part.
Yeah, let me look at James' profile, see if we have anything.
We got to come up with one now. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
my creative side project.
I mean, Yeah, I'm looking at our website. We don't have anything. That's crazy. Oh well. We're still polling higher than the other candidates than the ones who do. So.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, the Bobby Renner bots, or I said Bobby
Oh
Renner,
my
Bobby Williams
lord.
bots are full force on Facebook.
Bobby Williams, bro. Oh my lord.
I have a picture with him, by the way. It's really funny.
Yeah, one of my buddies knows Bobby Williams personally. But anyway, dude, let me tell you. I argue all the time with Bobby William bots all the time. And you want to know something too? I'm going to go ahead and say it on stream because I don't care. I have called Bobby Williams' phone and his campaign well over 20 times in the past couple weeks to try to invite him on the show for an interview. And I cannot get anybody to pick up at all.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Not even like a response back.
I called Paul Renner's campaign, and then his campaign actually said that I could possibly have Renner on my show at some point. So,
Interesting.
yeah, that'll be a very interesting one. But
You have to do Byron next. he wouldn't even show up. He wouldn't.
no, he wouldn't. I would have Byron Donalds on here just for the engagement and just for the views, nothing else.
Absolutely. It's a good marketing pitch.
Mm-hmm. I would, honestly, they can hold the Byron, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, you know what's really funny, too? Is if you were to ask me 2 or 3 years ago, who I wanted for governor after DeSantis, I would have probably said Byron Donalds. And
Interesting.
yeah, I was actually, at one point, I actually cared for Byron Donalds. I actually really liked him. Now I don't.
I don't know. I knew him as like a very well like an underdog candidate, so I never really had like a position on Byron. But now it's just like I have a hard stance. Like obviously I don't like him, and having been to like two of his events now, like in person as we usually do, he's just not a good speaker like at all. He really is not. He's like, no riz at all, as James would say. He's got nothing.
Bro's got no riz.
No. And the way he talks is so monotone. It feels like he's like reading. It's like if I had a script like right here and I was looking at the camera, like that's exactly what it sounds like. He's just like reading to you. And I don't like that about people.
Me neither. I cannot script anything.
Like we sat for FAU, this was about a month before we had James. And I'm sitting there, there's probably 10 of us in the crowd. It's like all Turning Point people. And all it is Byron like, I think we should be tougher on crime because XYZ. And then I think AI data centers are good for prosperity and we need all this business capital coming in. We need to get rid of like Florida business capital flight. And it's like, dude, nobody wants this.
Yeah, totally agree. Do you know what we need to get into on this show tonight?
Ooh.
Chud the Builder.
Oh my god.
We need to get into that.
Okay, one thing I will say immediately about that is I think it's the same court that's trying him now, or I should say indicting him, whichever, is the same one that gave I think it's Charlie Metcalf when he
Austin Metcalf? I'm Charlie Metcalf. You mean Austin Metcalf?
I'm looking at your name's right there. Austin
good.
Metcalf. And he obviously like blatantly murdered somebody and was like, he confessed totally to murdering. And it's just like insane that they gave him like nothing. And then they're like, actually, 20 years in prison. You have a fine of, I think it's like $1.5 million. And I was like, whoa. I was like, hold on, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's crazy? And look, I have an unpopular take about this whole thing. I have a really hot take about this. Look, I'm not saying Chud the Builder should go around calling people racial slurs. I'm not saying he should go to people's face and tell them don't chip out. I'm not saying that at all. But he does have the First Amendment right to go into these public places and speak to these people as he pleases. And the guy, and look, I'm not saying he's right because morally, I disagree with him morally. I think we can both agree. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like morally, I can say I disagree with Chud the Builder. I really do. I don't watch his content. I don't associate myself with his fans. I don't agree with Chud the Builder. But He was protected under the First Amendment right to do all his streams as he pleased. And with that being said, the black guy, he went up to the black guy and said, "Don't chimp out." What did the black guy do? The black guy immediately started throwing punches and then reportedly started reaching for Chud the Builder's gun to possibly shoot Chud the Builder. So what did Chud the Builder do? He took his gun out and he shot the black dude. And now Chud the Builder is facing trial for attempted murder. And I'm mixed about it. I'm mixed about it in a way where it's like, yeah, look, I don't agree with Chud the Builder. I think he was morally incorrect. But lawfully, I don't know if he was incorrect, though.
Well, yeah, because if someone's swinging on you, like if someone came up to me in public, even if I said anything bad to then instigate that interaction, if you are swinging on somebody, that's automatically self-defense.
What's up, AJ?
I can hit you back. I can like stab you. Yeah, I can do whatever back because I can say, oh, my life is being threatened. It is. You're trying to sock me in the mouth. Like what? Of course I'm gonna do something back.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this now. If I have a gun in my waist, why would I risk getting knocked out for them to possibly take my gun and shoot me while I'm knocked out?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And which is where I side legally with Chud the Builder. Morally is a different story. I don't side with him morally. I don't side with him religiously. And look, he calls himself a Catholic, but ultimately me and you both know that those are not just displaying Catholic ideals. But anyway, with all that stuff being said, I legally, I don't disagree with him. I believe that he was in his full legal right to defend himself by using the Second Amendment because the guy reportedly, and look, I'm not sure how true this is. That's why I'm saying reportedly, but the guy reached for Chud the Builder's gun, though. I don't care if I'm in the wrong or right. The moment someone reaches for my gun, I'm unloading a round into him. And so...
Yeah, that's why... 9 times out of 10, if you have a concealed carry on you and you get into an act of violence, that's how it's going to go. One person's getting shot regardless.
Yeah, and which I will add to, though. Because I know I've already said enough about, I think that he was legally in his right to do what he did. But, like I said, morally I disagree, so I am also going to go this route. I don't believe that he has any business going up to people's faces, specifically black people, and calling them chimps, calling them monkeys, calling them, I need to censor what I say here, so I'm not going to say it. Not because I'm afraid to say it, okay, but because I'm on YouTube. But calling them the N-word, it's like, come on, man. It's like nobody really cares. Like... There's
it's
a
different
like
engagement farming.
Well, yeah, it's engagement farming is literally what it is, but it's engagement farming in the wrong way, though. Like,
absolutely,
man. And you know what's crazy? Like, for example, I can go down the street in Lake City. I can punch an old lady in the face, and I guarantee you it'd get probably 1 million views, right? But guess what? Those 1 million views are though. Why would you punch that old lady in the face? And
she didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I see the same thing with all these black people. Like, they're just walking down the sidewalk, and Chud the Builder will go up to him and say, crack a black joke, in which some of them are, probably half of them are cool with it, by the way. Half of them's like, haha, very funny, I'm just going to keep walking now, right? And then he'll sit there and antagonize them by saying, oh, did you not think it was funny? Oh, did you not think it was funny because you're a monkey? Are you about to chimp out? And, it's... Come on, man. Nobody really... No, that's not cool. Like, it's really not cool. And honestly, I don't feel bad for him. I really don't. And
you basically just instigated it. Like you did nothing. Nothing was forcing that interaction to happen at all.
Literally, he is the reason why that happened. Now, ultimately, the black guy is the reason why a shooting ever happened in the first place. I get it, but maybe that situation would not have opened up if Chud the Builder did not go up to people calling them racial slurs for no reason. And yes, like I said, he is in his First Amendment right to do so, but same can be said too, though, for calling somebody retarded, calling somebody stupid, calling somebody dumb, calling them, a lunatic. It's not the fact that it's a racial slur kind of thing. It's just more so the fact that anything that is said that is unpleasant to another human being for little to zero reason, it's just, it's just like, it's sinful. That's the best way to put it. It's sinful. It's ungodly. It's filth. And I believe that we need to discourage things like that in our society. And I say this as somebody who calls myself far right. But I call myself far right because I think that everybody just went too far left. And so now I'm just a guy who's standing over here where I originally was, and I don't know. But anyways, there are some things about me though where over time my views have swayed more far right. For example, immigration, and totally unpopular, totally unpopular opinion, totally hot take I have, but I believe that all the Mexicans hopping the border, we should just shoot them whenever they come across. What's
In most countries, that's actually how it happens.
yeah,
So.
well, what's more effective than a wall? A bullet. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and so we have a problem with illegal immigration. Guess what's the best way to fix it? Lead. And you want to know something too? In order to be an ICE agent, you have to know Spanish. Like, that is required. You have to know Spanish.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, so you have to know Spanish in order to be an ICE agent. You know what I say to that? I think is ridiculous because the only language you need to learn is how to work a gun, in my opinion. And that, yeah, I'm sounding like a little mustache man right now, but I really don't care that much. Now, the part where I disassociate myself with the certain far right radical group from Europe and somewhere around the era of the 1940s is socialism. I'm not a socialist. I'm a capitalist. I disagree with them economically. And anyway, but as far as policy goes, foreign policy and not economic policy, but as far as social policy and stuff goes, I totally agree with that one particular guy with a mustache.
Speaking of foreign policy, last time we were on here, the Iran war, I think last time I was on here, the Iran war had been going on for a week, I believe.
Yeah.
So what do you think now that with everything that's happened since then? What do you think now?
Man. So, dude, you're unpacking a whole can of worms here. That's going to take a little. Anyways, okay, sure, we'll get into it. I believe that it's like, man, are you really surprised? Like, is there really any?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, like I knew this was going to happen. And for all those MAGA people out there that said before the Iran war happened, they're like, oh, this is only going to take 2 weeks. And, this is only going to take a week or two. And it's like, okay, well, how do you know? Because Daddy Trump said so. And it's like, okay, do you want to place a wager? No. And anyways, here we are now, set like 3 months into a foreign war. Gas prices have not gotten better. The cost of
It's so bad.
the cost of living has risen dramatically. Our food costs more. Because we're having to put the stress on our currency, the U.S. dollar, by spreading it thin into a war that is happening overseas. So obviously that's going to cause stress of our currency. Anyways, but overall though, I am totally in disagreement with the war. And honestly, I'm quite disappointed. Why is my laptop not charging? But I'm quite disappointed in everything though. I think that man, honestly, it's just not going to end.
I think it's very politically, it's very interesting to see because I'm a big nerd for this kind of stuff. I know people like family, friends, like my father and my mother's age, who were like big MAGA shills, and now he's even lost people like that. Maybe obviously not all of them, because you'll have those people who are like QAnon, like trust the plan, like all sorts of people like that. But it's crazy that people who were so. I even spoke to one dude today when I was out shopping that he was like, I liked Trump for the longest, but he's like, I can't support all this that's happening now. If you're losing very slowly a dwindling number of your hardcore voter base, it's like you're doing something wrong. And it really is. He doesn't care. He really doesn't care. I honestly think that.
Well, why would Trump care? I mean, it's not like he can run for re-election.
Exactly.
So Trump don't care if his numbers plummet right now because guess what? He can't run for re-election. Trump is at the end of his life. He has no care in the world. He's a multi-billionaire. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, if you were Trump, would you really care either? Like, I don't think I would.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. Like after my presidency, I'm taking my money. I'm running away to the hills. I'm buying I'm buying 5,000 acres of land, putting a mansion right dead in the center of it, in the middle of all those woods, and making it where it's very hard to reach me, and I'm just spending my life there for the rest of my life. Like, honestly, man, like it's like everybody says Trump's got a plan, you got to follow the plan. Like, I see boomers saying it today on Facebook, bro. Saying, oh, well, yeah, gas prices is high today, but wait until next month. You got to trust the plan, bro. And it's like, dude, you've been saying this for months now. You've been saying it for
it's
months.
a literal second phase of like QAnon, like 5 years ago, where they're like, trust the plan, like Trump has everything under control.
You want to know what really gets me too, and it tickles me to my core, is just a couple years ago, before Trump ever became president, one thing MAGA hated the Democratic Party doing was never Joe. And look, I don't support it either, but it's very hypocritical on their end, though. Whenever Joe Biden would try to pass a bill, the Democrats try to pass a bill of sending foreign aid money to other countries, like in Africa, the Republicans was all up in arms about it. The Republicans was sitting there saying you're spending our taxpayer dollars out to Africa. How does this benefit my life? How does this benefit my way of living? We need to drive these costs down. Joe Biden's got this gas way high up. Joe Biden, you're focusing on sending this money to foreign countries, but you're not taking care of us. So Trump campaigned saying we're going to fix that issue. What do we get? We get a foreign war. We get high gas prices. We get a high cost of living. And the same Republicans who was against the Democrats of sending our money to foreign countries are now for sending our money to Israel, a foreign country. And it is just wild. The hypocrisy is crazy.
And the best part of it is, I think my favorite aspect is Trump has always ran on like no more foreign wars.
Yep.
We're never gonna have no more foreign wars. Immediately got into the second term, and it was just like, it was like a clock that just kept slowly ticking down. Like, you knew it was gonna happen, you just didn't know when it was.
Yep. I mean, like, look, and I actually support this part of it. I think Trump did a good job right here, but there's there's the pros and cons. I actually think it was a good thing that we kidnapped Maduro. I do. I think that was a good thing, because that was an overnight thing. It didn't last several weeks. It didn't last several months. That was literally a one-nighter kind of thing. We did a one-nighter.
Honestly, like, most perfectly executed like military mission I think we've ever achieved in anything.
Yeah.
And I don't want like a communist government for entirely like ideological and religious reasons. It was just the issue of what we did afterwards was like that's what I had the issue with, because it's like we didn't get anything truly from that.
That, and do you know who currently resides the president over Colombian or Venezuela now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It is a socialist woman. Is that truly any better? Is it truly any better? You replaced a communist man with a socialist woman. Honestly, give me the communist man any day of the week.
And on top of that, now their banking and every aspect of their oil industry is now run by us indirectly. So it's just like, we didn't really fix anything truly. There was no, thank God, honestly, there was no nation building or anything involved. But it's like, we kind of went there, toppled the government. Granted, I do like that we toppled it, but it's just like, we didn't get anything from it. So it's like, all right, cool. We just did that and left.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's crazy too. And look, like I said, I think the whole Venezuela thing was a good thing. I really do. But how come our gas prices is almost $4.50 a gallon up here in North Florida where I'm at? But at the same time, the country we just took over, Venezuela, has the largest oil reserves in the world. And you're telling me we can't get our gas cheaper than what it is now?
Even the strategic reserve, I don't even know if we've touched it or not ever since this has happened, if we've actually emptied it or not.
That's actually an interesting question. I'm going to look it up.
Because Texas, the state with the most gas production in the United States, is somehow struggling with gas prices. So it's like, what are we actually doing?
Yeah, let's see here. Are we using oil reserves? Yes, oil reserves are actively being used globally. Um,
Wow, we must be getting destroyed then. Holy.
yeah, dude, do you know how much oil Venezuela has
In like terms of barrels
in terms of percentage?
of worldly percentage,
Yes, of the
I want
world
to take a
share.
guess. I'm gonna say 13.
17.17%.
Oh, I was close. I was off by 4.
Almost Venezuela, a country we just took over, has more oil than the Middle East.
That doesn't surprise me actually.
Dude, and you know, it doesn't surprise me. It's just one of those things, dude. It's like we took over this country. We took their leader. We put somebody we wanted in office over there. What did we get in return? Nothing. And you heard the Republican Party saying over and over again before we went and took Maduro, because there was talks of us going to war with Venezuela. And people was sitting there saying, what do we get in return of it? And the Republican Party was sitting there saying, oh, they got the most oil in the world. You know, gas is going to go, gas is going to plummet. The price of gas is, gas is just going to be everywhere now. You know what I'm saying? Like, gas is going to get so cheap and everything. And, well, we did it. Gas didn't nudge a bit. Matter of fact, it went up.
You want to
And
know how much gas is on average down here in Palm Beach?
oh man, let me take a guess. Are you talking about regular or premium?
I'll do both. I'll do both because I drive premium.
Yeah, I remember you saying you drive premium. Regular, I'm going to take a guess and say 470.
A little lower, but yeah, depends on where you are. It can be 470. I have seen it.
Man, that's
It's
bad.
it's about anywhere between 465 to 490 is anywhere I've seen that in that range. Yeah, that's
Dude.
for normal.
All right.
Now guess how much mine is that I spent on yesterday.
For premium, I'm guessing. Oh man, for premium, I'm guessing 580.
More.
610.
It's about 6.5.
That is crazy,
Mm-hmm.
dude. That
Not even during COVID was it that bad.
not even under the Biden administration.
Nope. I think I paid like 480 at most under COVID.
Dude, that's wild, man. Like, I miss the good old days. Like, I want to go back to when I can just load up my boat, put a full tank of gas in there, put a full tank of gas in my trunk or in my truck, pull my boat somewhere, go fishing, and all within the $90.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, I fill the truck up. $50 only gives me below half a tank.
It's insane. I remember during COVID, actually a little before COVID too, because I was driving before then. My current car, during like first era Trump, I spent I think $30 at most on gas was like a full tank, and now I'm spending like double that over for like the same tank. It's insane.
Dude, so AJ, so the person who writes my articles on Florida Frontier Uncensored on Substack says, days like these, I'm glad I don't drive. I wish I could
He's
say,
real for that, honestly. Yeah.
yeah, I honestly wish I could relate to you on that one, but unfortunately I can't relate on that one. I have to pay
We need
these
to
high
start.
gas
Everyone
prices.
switch over to like electric bike infrastructure. We're all just gonna start e-biking.
Dude, I'm just gonna start just walking, bro. I'm just gonna start using my Lamborghinis. Honestly, it's getting to that point. It's getting to that point.
I was telling you about this last time when we were originally talking about this. When I went to Europe, I love like this is like the walking city like circle jerk every time people talk about this. But it's like it's amazing. Like I spent $1 to get from the metro to go to the other part of Rome, and it's like $20 to go to an entirely different city in the country. But like to be able to walk from, I guess, the distance of like my house to about maybe like to Cuesta, about like, so that's for me, it's like 12 miles for reference for you since you're more north. It's insane. Like you could just walk everywhere. Like there was no cars. I mean, there were, but people would just be like jaywalking the high hell. So it was like a pretty normal. Um, it was like a more accessible and less annoying version of like any northern city you've ever been to. Was pretty much what it was like.
You know what I need to get? I need to get a horse. I need to get a horse.
Yes, I've been saying this, dude. We need to start riding horses again.
Dude, for real. Honestly, the feed for them's cheaper than the gas.
The return to tradition dudes are like crying right now. They're like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, and honestly, riding a horse in the hot sun's more beneficial to me anyways. It burns off those calories, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Burns off those calories, and I can put a little helmet on the horse too, so it looks like I'm a knight and everything. It's just it's just it's like a Fortnite skin, but it's for a vehicle. It just looks way cooler. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Oh yeah.
Why rock the Prius when you can rock the 5th century horse with a whole armor set? Anyways, that's kind of cringe. Oh well. Anyways. Yeah, no, I'm getting a horse for sure. I'm about at the point where I'm just going to get a horse. Dude, this gas is crazy. Anyways, do you think when we eventually, and I have a question for you because I don't know. I want to get your take on this.
Yeah.
Do you think eventually we're going to take over Iran?
No, logistically, I don't think it's possible
Me neither.
because I'll do the math for you. The really simple napkin math, I call it. So we were in Afghanistan for a long ass time, almost 30 years, and we didn't accomplish anything. We failed entirely. On every measure, we absolutely failed. Iran is 4 times the size of Afghanistan, with nearly the same climate,
More people.
nearly the same geography, bigger population, a professional military that is not running jihadist tactics, that isn't
Bro,
fighting
we have
asymmetrical
trannies in
warfare.
our military now, man.
Exactly.
Like,
And despite all the advancements that's happened since the 90s when the Soviets invaded and we first went through Afghanistan, all that, and then the war on terror, it's the logistical premise of fighting a country that is 4 times the size of Afghanistan with a professional military. That's not a winnable situation. And even in all of our like geopolitical war games we've played in the war colleges, you can't win. It's never happened. We've never beaten Iran in a war game that's been simulated. We've never won. And I don't think it's possible unless you use the nuclear option. That's literally it. Because it now, instead of doing everything you want to do the right way and the more moral way of fighting a war, you would have to willingly force them into submission. Because now you have the literal rock and hard place, Iran, and now you have to hit them with the unstoppable force. There's no way you can fight a land invasion, especially in the way that they want to do, like, oh, let's go through the Strait of Hormuz and take the islands. It's like, that's suicidal on so many levels. Like, that is a slaughter that is waiting to happen. I don't remember if we touched on this last time, but with the raid on Isfahan, where they quite allegedly, I'm very inclined to believe it because we actually talked about this when I was in school for this exact scenario, funny enough, is that when we were trying to raid Isfahan, that we had to steal and take out their nuclear capability. If they actually tried that, and again, American forces got slaughtered, there's no easy conceivable way to go about it. You can't. There's just no logistical way we can actually win.
and add on to that a little bit. I know earlier a minute ago you mentioned saying that there is a moral way and there is a moral way and an immoral way of fighting a war, and that's very true. One of the things that I see that Donald Trump is doing and the U.S. is doing to Iran is they are cutting off the trade of Iran. Meaning they are limiting the amount of food they get. We are crushing their economy. We're quite literally starving them to death. Is literally what we're doing. And because we're not going to go on boots, we're not going to put boots on the ground over there just yet. We're literally going to break them down before we even put our soldiers on that ground over there. And honestly, I think that something like that is very immoral for us to do.
Absolutely. It's you probably look it up whenever you have time, but it's when we were first bombing the initial stages of the war, we were crippling oil infrastructure, blowing up refineries, blowing up pipelines. And that obviously that doesn't just dissipate. That has to go somewhere, and it goes in the air. It's toxic, it's cancerous. You are setting flame to flammable material. People are getting literally smoked out and dying. And not only that, the indiscriminate bombing of schools, religious centers, civilian targets, that's completely immoral. And the irony is, it's the justification that, oh, Iran is a theocratic, like, terrorist government, so therefore we can not obey the Geneva Conventions.
Right, but
And it's just like,
99.99% of the population is
exactly.
not, though.
And that's the interesting thing. It's the same argument that the Israelis are using with Gaza. They're like, oh, they're run by a terrorist state, so we actually can do these things to these people. And it's like, no, you can't. Because the irony is, if they were to do the same thing to us, you would then cry wolf saying, oh, they're breaking national law. You're breaking morality. You can't do that. You can't play both sides and say, oh, but one person's completely in the wrong. Just because you want to wage a war on grand efficiency of terror bombing and saying, oh, I want to demoralize and break an entire nation, that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm going to do it and then not cry wolf when something happens back to me.
Yeah, and honestly, the way I look at it too is I believe that we are actually worse than Israel in a lot of ways whenever it comes to the war of Iran. And well, I say that, but honestly, it's on par. Truth.
I would say it's on par,
and,
yeah.
And because you have to look at what Israel's doing too, and there, I believe that there's some ways where we're worse. And I'll explain to you my reasoning because we have a moral high ground over the Israeli government.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, we have a moral high ground over the Israeli government, but we still continue to do the very things that Israel is doing to Gaza. So that's why I think that debatably we're worse because ultimately Israel knows they're evil, the government knows they're of the devil, but we should have that moral high ground to stand up to that evilness, but we don't. So that's why I claim that we're worse. And
I will agree with that because it's how do we as a nation, we're supposedly this world bastion of democracy, then claim, oh, this country, you are run by a terrorist group. We are going to liberate you, and our method of liberation is indiscriminately bombing you. So it's like, how do we claim liberation? And we actually just killed your uncle, your aunt, your cousin, your brother, your sister. It's like, that's not liberation, that's slaughter. You are indiscriminately attacking civilian targets with no regard. And the worst part was that was facilitated in most cases, not even by humanity. That was like Claude, you had Anthropic. It was insane. Like when I saw that, I was like, that's deranged. Oh, he's putting the hat on now.
Yeah.
No, there it is. There's the hat.
Yeah, the Kennedy 24 hat. RFK, I was an RFK Jr. supporter for president in 24. And, I was an RFK Jr. Supporter until DeSantis announced his run. And then after DeSantis announced his run, then I became a DeSantis supporter. And after DeSantis dropped out, then I went back to being an RFK supporter. So I ran around the loop with that one. But... yeah, no, I'm just going to throw on the hat, though, because I guarantee you if RFK Jr. won that election, we would not be going through this. RFK Jr. actually called out all of the Middle Eastern problems and the Ukrainian war issues before he ever even decided to run for president. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I'm going to take off the hat. Oh, well. But, man, you know what I wish I had right now? I wish I had a full can of Zins. They're all empty. They're all empty.
Zin sponsorship.
Yeah. I'm fiending right now, bro. I'm fiending. It's okay because by the power of Christ, I will prevail.
I actually have a really similar one right here.
Oh, really? Okay. Where'd you get yours at?
So actually, great story on the topic of what we just talked about. So my priest at my church is the eparch for all of Florida and the Bahamas. He's a Melkite Catholic, and he's Egyptian. He was born there
Is he
and lived
Coptic?
here for. No, he's just Melkite, like Eastern Catholic.
Okay.
It's one of the branches of like Greek Catholicism,
Okay.
and he had a friend from Palestine, like a Catholic from Palestine, and he came to our church. He's been going around the whole country and a few other places in Europe, asking like we need donations to defend Christians in the Holy Land because he's like this is what the Israelis are doing, and he was like very blunt. And my church is primarily like old people. It's got a good mix, but I'd say it's primarily old people on like a good day. And he was saying like this is what the Israeli government is doing to Christians, to Muslims, to just like the innocent people. And he was selling a bunch of hand carved rosaries, nativity scenes, crucifix, all sorts of stuff. So I bought from him this crucifix, and I have 4 hand rosaries that I bought from him because I'm a big fan of the hand rosaries.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my story with this one actually is this crucifix is very special to me. So it did obviously have the sand of the Holy Land in it at one point, but it dumped out because a few reasons. But anyways, where I got that crucifix at, I was on deployment in Jordan. And I bought this in Jordan. It's all handcrafted, made in Jordan. And but anyway, I went to the Jordan River, and they had these in the gift shop by the Jordan River. And so I bought it, and I dunk it in the same spot that Jesus was baptized in the Jordan River. So this very crucifix was in the very same location in the Jordan River where Jesus was baptized.
That's awesome. I love
Yep.
that.
Yep. I really love. I should be having this hanging on my wall, but I don't have it hanging on my wall. I gotta hang it at one point.
I haven't done that to mine yet. It just sits right here.
Yeah, it honestly sits next to my bed, and sometimes whenever I'm praying at night, I'll just kind of grab it and hold on to it. And
I do the same thing.
yeah, but also I want to show you something else cool I got. I've been
Alright.
having this for a couple years now, and I've read it. I've read it all. But anyways, this right here is called Augustine Day by Day, and it is little sermons from Saint Augustine. It's like little things every day. Like for example, you have your May 15th, May 16th, May 17th, and so on and so on. And it's called Day by Day. And so I'll tell you, like one of my favorite things in here, which I actually have it bookmarked right here. Where is it? Here it is. Is this it? Let's see. Anyway, it's just like little Saint Augustine teachings, and it's really cool. But yeah, no, I have a lot of stuff. Like I have bottles of holy water that also that I personally have scooped up in the Jordan River where Jesus was baptized. Got it blessed by a priest. I have a lot of cool stuff whenever it comes to that. I have dude. I have like 20 different rosaries that I got from Jordan.
Oh yeah, I have a collection of rosaries.
Yeah, I have like hand rosaries and everything. And actually, a really interesting
Oh.
story.
Speaking of, no, keep talking. I'm gonna grab it.
No, you're good. Very interesting story about the hand rosary I got. So I had a priest named Father Joseph whenever I was in Jordan, and he, creates things like that. Anyways, he gave me a hand rosary, as well as another buddy. He also creates hand rosaries as well as well. So he gave me one, and then my priest gave me one as well. But anyway, it was like little. It's like a little. What's it called? That paracord. Yeah, it's called paracord. He made it have like paracord and stuff, but it was really cool though. I don't have it next to me. Otherwise, I would grab it though.
I'll show you one of my favorites. So I have a rosary bag for it that I really like. I love the iconography on it, and then on the back it's got
Yeah.
the glory be. So inside of the bag, I'll switch out the rosaries depending on which one I have, but this one sits in there. Someone gave me this from Mexico. This is a Day of the Dead rosary. It's kind of It's really long.
So a Requiem.
I'd say it's more of a Requiem, yeah. Um, and it's got skulls for the beads, and it's really interesting. I thought it was really unique because I've never seen a rosary like that, but
Me
I really
neither.
like this song.
You know what? Okay, so I must get this off my chest. I need to talk about this because I've had this feeling my whole life and I've just never talked about it. I love Catholic tradition and culture from Rome. I love the whole style. I love the decor of it. It's very beautiful in Rome. You know what I don't think is necessary. You know what like my least favorite side of Catholicism is. And look, I don't mean to sound like blasphemy, right? But
Yeah.
Mexico is like my least favorite side of Catholicism, though. And I say that, and look, obviously the whole Our Lady of Guadalupe, and that's actually Portugal, though, correct?
Oh, that's Fatima. Fatima's Portugal.
Fatima is Portugal, correct? I think I'm right about that. But anyways,
Guadalupe is Mexico.
okay, yeah. So Our Lady of Guadalupe, and obviously, it's Mary, right? It's our Mother Mary. But ultimately, it's like one thing I just don't understand, and which, yeah, I get it. It's different languages, right? And whatever. I just don't understand a lot of the traditions that Mexicans do in their culture that mixes into Catholicism. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just really, really weird to me. And like,
Are you thinking of the Santa Muerte, like that group?
maybe? Let me look.
Because they do like all the skulls and stuff that
Yeah.
you're probably thinking of. So they're like Catholic-esque, but they're actually not Catholics.
Okay, well, I didn't think so because I
Yeah.
actually looked a little bit into it and I was like, these don't really seem like they line up.
No, they actually are considered heretical in that regard.
Yeah.
Because it's a mixture of like death occult symbolism
Yep.
with like
Yep.
Catholic iconography, and it's like very blatantly like heretical.
Yeah, for sure. And so, and actually, what was it? Man, I can't remember what it was. And I'll tell you what else is blasphemy as well. Well, blasphemy more so. I think it's just wrong. They have like a Day of the Dead, and obviously I know I'm not talking about your rosary. I'm talking about Mexico in general. Like, you ever hear of like Day of the Dead? It's
Yeah.
very different than like Requiem or anything, right? Because our quote unquote Day of the Dead to them is people in purgatory. Is that day is for them to receive the prayers of the ones on earth, right?
Yes.
And but the Day of the Dead in Mexico, though, they view it as I'm going to go talk to my ancestor. But me and you both know that it's just a demon in disguise, because the Old Testament actually warns us against talking to spirits that are dead. And and look, and I can get into this whole thing theologically, right? Because people say, well, what about praying to saints? And it's totally different story there. Totally different story. Because the word saint itself means holy, right? Therefore, anything that has inherited the kingdom of God, other words, heaven, is holy. In other words, they wouldn't be called a saint, or otherwise they wouldn't be called a saint. But anyway, moving on though, as far as that, I think that it's very different if, and honestly, it's not a good thing if you were to suggest to anybody to pray to their dead family member. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Praying to a dead, I don't, it's very interesting because I have a very biased kind of take to this, because
Yeah.
it's my view is very like dead set. Um, I've talked to exorcists a lot because we have one like pretty locally, and we are not we were told to not engage in talking spiritually.
Yeah.
You don't want to invite that into your life. So the actual interesting aspect is, if you hear something talking to you spiritually, in that case it's usually not something demonic. But if you are willingly putting yourself out there and being like, oh, I beckon, like, spirit, come forth thee, something like that along those lines, like you're willingly
Yeah.
bringing yourself into that, that's usually the bad aspect. And we are actually scripturally told to, like, not do that.
Yeah,
Like,
for
don't
sure.
willingly, because it eventually, when you go down the line, it reminds me of the verse, like the first state of man, or the last state of man is always worse than the first, because when you get into that obsession and you get into that mindset of, oh, I'm speaking to dead people, you don't know what's on the other side. You never know.
Yeah,
And
and like I'll add on to that as well. And I say this: if you know for a fact that that family member is in heaven, then I don't see an issue if you were to ask them to pray for you.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like to clarify that I don't see an issue. But if obviously if you know Uncle Bob was not a religious guy by any means, he was never baptized, not a religious guy, he lived a sinful life, maybe it's best if you don't associate with him after his passing.
What I always do is, for people I know that have passed away, I always pray. I always pray for the souls in purgatory
Yes.
twice a day.
Yes.
Um, I've never gone out of my way to purposely speak to the dead.
Me
I
neither.
just
Me
don't
neither.
like that connotation either.
Yeah, and honestly, I think me and you can both agree it's very sketchy. Like
Absolutely.
it's just one of those things where it's like think about Saint Thomas Aquinas, right? Saint Thomas Aquinas, he's my favorite saint amongst all the
That's the
others.
goat. That's
And
the
yeah,
goat.
dude, he's the goat. But he, if I was to pray to Saint Thomas Aquinas and ask him to pray for me that I may gain wisdom, then there's nothing wrong with that. I don't view there being
Mhm.
anything wrong with that. Because the word prayer, the word pray comes from the Latin word or the Greek word meaning to address someone or something. And so people have this idea that whenever you say, like for example, back in the old days, whenever people go up to you, they would say, I pray unto you there, or I pray unto thee, you sir. It's like that's what they that's that was them saying that they're going to talk to you or plead to you about something. The word prayer / pray is a Greek word for meaning to address someone or something else. And so people think of the word pray and then they go, oh, well, we're not supposed to pray to anybody other than God. But
And in that connotation too, it's you're not praying directly to that person. You are asking them to pray for you. And that's where the whole like Protestant, like evangelical, like cope comes from, is like that whole angle, because it's like we obviously know you are only to pray to God, and outside of that, because He's the only one worthy of glory, that you are then asking for the intercession of the apostles, of the saints, of the Blessed Mother, of the angels, thrones, dominions, etc. That you are asking heavenly people who are holy, hey, I need you to pray to God that you are there. Like, help me. That's literally it. It reminds me of a case like steel sharpens steel. That's exactly it. I need you to make me better. Like, help me become better.
yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you this now. And honestly, and this is kind of like one of my other takes on this. Whenever I just said it's not a good idea to address a family member who is dead or rather alive in heaven, whatever you want to say, they're not physically on this earth, and you don't know for a fact whether they made it to heaven or not. Here's what I say is best for that. If they are in heaven, just know if you ever need their prayers, they are active. If they are indeed in heaven and they are saved, then they are actively praying for your soul. You just may not know
Absolutely.
it. And so, really, there is no point of risking praying to that individual or not. Whenever in all reality, they are all. And especially if it's somebody close to you, like a grandparent, a parent, or whoever it may be, if it's somebody really close to you, I promise you they're paying close attention to you from heaven and they're actively praying for you in your tough situation. So I don't really see much of a point in specifically asking them to pray for you if they're already overviewing everything in your life going on. But that's not the same with saints, though.
It's really interesting that you said that, on the basis that like that person's always looking out for you. I used to pray to Saint Francis a lot, and Francis being the one associated with animals. Every time I needed help with something, I always saw a dove, and it was really interesting that it was always like a dove when I needed something. So
Yeah.
it was like really interesting that that would happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you an interesting story. And look, maybe I shouldn't share this on stream, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to share parts of it. I'm not going to share the whole thing. But once upon a time, I was in the hospital whenever I was little. And I had leukemia whenever I was 8 years old. And so anyway, I'm not trying to get into the whole situation of what happened beforehand, but I had a very big spiritual encounter in my life. And soon after that, I got cancer. And I'm talking about a demonic spiritual encounter. I'm not talking about a holy one. It was demonic. And anyway, if I say what it was, people's going to be like, "Oh, this guy's crazy" or whatnot. But it was a very demonic encounter, and I got cancer soon after that. And anyway, tagging off of that though, people who don't believe in demons. I believe it and I'm kind of baffled at it because like, are you familiar with Father Dan Rehill by chance?
Yes, I know who that is.
So I listen to Father Dan Rehill like all the time. Like he's my favorite exorcist to listen to. Him, Father Dan Rehill, Father Chad Ripperger.
I love Ripperger.
Yeah,
Ripperger
he's
is my
really good.
favorite.
Father Chad Ripperger and also Father Vincent Lampert. He's good too. And anyway, so Father Dan Rehill once said, he was attending a meeting at a Vatican or whatever, and they were kind of debating about demons or whatever it may be. And the guy, I guess Father Rehill was talking to somebody, and the guy was sitting there saying, well, the Bible's honestly just metaphorical whenever it comes to demons. And then Father Rehill said, well, hold on. You cannot call yourself a Christian if you don't believe in demons. That's like the number
Absolutely.
one. Like, you cannot call yourself a Christian. And so whenever I say this, people, they'll look at me weird. They'll say I'm they'll just say I believe in weird things. I honestly don't care. But I truly believe that demons in this room are watching me right now. Demons are watching.
I'll say you a very similar case I had. Part of the reason why my most recent bout, I was pretty lukewarm in all honesty when I was like a teenager as a Catholic.
Yeah.
And I hadn't gone through my confirmation. I was an adult confirm. But for me, it was really interesting because now being older and having been born into it, I've taken my faith as something like absolutely to be serious of. But what really made that drive for me, I had a nightmare about a demon, and it was so it literally bit me like in the nightmare, and I woke up and my hand was like on fire. I felt like there was someone like in the room with me, and I like literally like flung myself awake, and the first thing I did instinctually was like grab the Bible and say like, I cast you out in the name of Christ. And the very next morning, I made a phone call to my deacon that I work really closely with now. And I told him what happened. I was like, I want to do my confirmation like as early as possible. Like I want to go through the whole process. Um, and he was like, that's actually not crazy that you said that, because he's like, we've had people say these things before, and like that's the reason why they've wanted to do it. So I've had a few very, very interesting spiritual experiences, and people will ask me like all the time. We had an exorcism in our parish. We had someone I know very closely had to get an exorcism done. So people who say like, oh, demons aren't real, there's no such thing as like the devil. There cannot be no absolute good if there's no absolute evil. And inversely, if there is no absolute good for people who are like atheists, we would live in hell constantly because there's nothing to balance it out. So there absolutely is demons, and hell is real. Hell is a real place. That's what we have to tell people, that stop
Yeah.
doing bad things, because hell is a real place.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting you mentioned that kind of experience because I'll tell you something similar I had recently. I say recently, it's been within the year. So when I moved, whenever I was in Jordan, I first got there. one of the first things I did. And I was having nightmares, like really bad nightmares. I'm talking about like things were chasing me, like I was super stressed out. And keep in mind, this is during a time whenever a war was happening too. But I was having nightmares. Um, there was just a lot of tough things that was happening to me at the time. But anyway, so I was talking to a priest about it. He gave me holy water, and I went in my room, and I went to all four corners of the wall. I dipped my finger in the holy water. I made a cross on the wall on each side of the room, and like I would go to like the wall, cross right there, holy water, all four sides of the wall. Anyways, that night I didn't have any more nightmares. Like going on forth, no more. And
Very interesting you said that because I used to have the same thing. Oh, my dad just walked in the
oh,
room.
you're good, man.
And it was really interesting because I used to have like very vivid nightmares. And all of a sudden, when I was praying and I would put my crucifix up, my Bible, whatever have you, it all stopped. I never had that anymore. And I confessed to my priest that I spoke to both my priests. My cat is on the table now. And um, my priest would say these things. Sorry, cat. And he was like, "Yeah, this is what we usually instruct people to do. Perform a blessing on your room. They'll do it yourself, or they'll tell you how to do it." And it was interesting because I, having hearing it from a priest that I'm close with, that other people have been instructed the same thing or had the same experience, whatever have you, it was really interesting because I knew that not only was I not the only one, but this is like a moderately common thing or an uncommon thing, however you want to go about saying that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and you mentioned prayer. I actually there was a specific prayer I had to do on like each side or whatever of the wall. I can't remember what it was,
Yes,
but
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
yeah, there was one. I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember how it goes. It's been a while, but I'll tell you though, whenever I got done with the last wall, I felt a whoosh by me. I'm talking about like I literally and I literally felt I'm getting goosebumps just even thinking. I literally felt a wind go by me, and I believe that was the demon running out of the room.
Oh yeah, Mom, that's
And
a smaller exorcism that you did.
yeah, dude, I'm literally getting goosebumps. I don't know if you can really see it, but like I'm
I can a little bit. Your hair is
like,
sticking up.
dude, like there was literally a wind that just whooshed by me, like during that last prayer, did the cross, dude. It was like crazy, and
So on going on that, what you just said, like your hair sticking up and you felt weird. Every time I've been around something that's always felt like wrong like that, I get that same feeling. Like my hair sticks up. I feel like a really cold. I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah, and and I are I always have arguments with people all the time about religion. And not I'm not talking about the unreligious or the unbelievers or anything like that. I'm just talking about Protestants in general. And look, I come from a family of Protestants. I'm the only non-Protestant in my family. And I argue all the time, and it's not just with my family, it's just with other people as well. They all tell me saying none of this works. The Catholic Church, they're wrong about everything. But if they were wrong about everything, how come I have spiritually felt different? Like the cross on the walls, the specific prayers, and I could physically feel the demon whooshing by me, and I had no more nightmares from that day on. Like, if this was all a lie, and I'm being deceived, and how come there's a huge spiritual difference in my life?
Oh, absolutely. I feel this. I feel the same way. I increasing in reverence over the period of time I've been doing this now. I feel emotionally better. I feel spiritually
Yep.
better. Willingly, like my willpower. Um, I can't understand. I can't even fathom the reality of saying to myself, like, "Oh, this doesn't exist. I can't pray to saints. There's no demons. Like, there's no need for like exorcisms or any have you." Because it's like I felt the difference. I know the difference. And to me, the biggest difference, you probably felt this too. For me, it was always the Eucharist, and that is the presence of God. That is the flesh of blood. That is flesh and blood of God. And the first time I had ever done the Eucharistic adoration, I told my deacon like literally immediately after, because this was through OCIA, so this was like that first experience of the adoration,
Yeah.
and I told him when I was kneeling in front of the Eucharist that it felt like I was sitting in front of a really warm light. Like you were standing in front of like a heat lamp is probably the easiest way to explain it. That it felt like really radiant, that it was like touching every part of my body, but the room was cold. I could feel the AC like coming down from the room. So I know that I wasn't like sweating, I wasn't perspiring from any sort of natural heat in front of me. Like I know that was like the presence of God in the Eucharist. And it's like undeniably was still like one of the craziest like spiritual experiences I've ever had was always being in front of the Eucharist.
Yeah. And, I'll tell you another thing. And my first ever confession was like an hour long. And that was like, I don't know, 2 years ago. Anyway, and I've never gone to confession. I've always confessed my sins to God, but I've never gone to confession before that. And whenever I went to confession, dude, it's like I spiritually felt lighter. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm talking about? It's like you just like you
Yes.
feel lighter, and I don't know. It's like
It's a
and
burden on the soul. That's exactly
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, and you want to know something too. And I hear people say this all the time to me. They say, "You know what's wrong with confession in the Catholic Church? It's the fact that you can go do this, you can go do that. You can go sleep with this girl, you can go drink and you can do all these bad things and you can just go to confession and the priest says some magical words over you and all of a sudden you're absolved and you go do it all over again." People do it all the time. It's like is that what the issue is with the confession? Because honestly, I feel like it's a lot easier to just do it your way and just ask for God for forgiveness yourself every night, and continue to live in the same
And on
bad
top of that,
lifestyle.
the confession has to be valid
Mm,
because you have to then make the willing effort on your part to not sin.
yep.
And two, you have to then be genuine in that confession that you are saying, I did do wrong. I regret having done wrong, and I'm going to change because of it.
Yep. And I'll tell you, actually, the book of Romans, Jesus says that if you love me, you would sin no more.
Exactly.
And also in Matthew, Jesus says, "Be perfect like my Father is in heaven." And obviously, we cannot be perfect, but we can strive to be perfect, though.
We can strive to be perfect.
and
Yes.
and people misunderstand that all the time. But I don't know. I don't know how much later you can stay on though. It is we are almost an hour and a half in the stream. Would you like to keep going, or are you kind of like you kind of ready to
Up
go?
to you, really. I can do whatever.
We'll go over one more topic, and after that, we're going to call it a night. Um, let's see. I do want to get into. I don't want to move away from religion. But let's see what X brings us. Let me see what's on my feed. Uh, hold on. Let me see what's on my feed. Can you hear my dog in the background?
I did for a second. Yeah.
He's.
I don't know if you can hear my brother. My brother's in the background
Oh, I
in his
can't hear
room,
him.
like yelling a bunch of stuff.
I can't hear anything on your end. All I hear is a basset hound. Anyway, let's see. What in the world? Dude, this is something we can talk about.
Ooh.
Clavicular.
This is an interesting range of topics for
You know
tonight.
what? Yeah, well, and honestly, and I said we weren't going to move away from religion, and I mean it. We're not going to move away from religion because clavicular, I have some things to say.
Okay, we're
And
tying it in. It makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Clavicular is so overrated in my opinion. He
Agree. I completely agree.
here's the thing, and I know I love Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, he calls out evil, he calls out wrong, he calls bad stuff whenever it's bad, right? He says it as it is, right? The one thing I cannot get behind Nick on is how Nick always, in which Clav, he may be cool, right? Yeah, sure, whatever. But Nick is almost like encouraging it amongst the youth to follow clavicular. And by the way, I see this from a lot of other content creators as well. There's nothing cool and there's nothing masculine about owning your own club and making out with random women whenever you have your girl right next to you.
Absolutely.
And like I saw a video today or yesterday, I can't remember. I lose track of time. But anyways, it was a video from today or yesterday of Clav. He was at a club that he owned, and his girlfriend was next to him, and his girlfriend walked in on him on stream making out with multiple girls. Whenever I say multiple, I'm talking about like 4 different girls making out with him, and his girlfriend got upset. And then saying, Clav, why are you doing this? We're together. And then Clav basically told her, said, hey, I can do what I want. If you don't like it, then you can leave me. Are you going to leave me? And he was kind of guilt tripping his girlfriend to stay with him. And she was saying, no, I wouldn't leave you. And it's like, okay, then shut up then. And so it's like, why are we promoting this in our society?
I've never liked hedonism, especially when it came to like relationships, because it's one, you're only ever supposed to be monogamous. So it's
Yep.
like, why would you ever be romantically interested in any woman who's not your girlfriend, your wife, fiance, etc.?
Yeah.
Um, and on top of that, more than one is like insane. I don't know how you would even go about doing it with not just one person, but multiple. And on top of that, you have hedonism of the flesh. Like I'm constantly trying to look the most vain I can, um, be the most rich I can be. It's all worldly derived pleasure, and I've never been that kind of person. So to me, this has always been like very adverse because it's like that's not who I would want to be. That's not who I would ever want to strive to be. It's just weird, and I've never liked. Like I think the looks max and culture is like funny because it's like the headlines you see from it. Like I remember the one clavicular one where it's like clavicular was like mid jester gooning. Like that whole sentence was like hilarious. It's just dumb. But it's like the actual like looks maxing aspect of I need to do like XYZ. Here's me with like women, my club, etc. I think that whole image is extremely vain. It is completely opposite of what kind of man you should strive to be for. You're only ever supposed to be a family man, a righteous man, and one that's striving to be in the image of Christ. So to be everything but that, obviously, is a complete and net negative.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you, like you've already tagged on it, but I'll reiterate it more. We are supposed to strive as men. We're supposed to strive not just to be a leader. And what does a leader really mean? A leader means leading others right the correct way, whether it's morally, religiously, politically. If you know, and by the way, Clavicular has to know that what he does is morally incorrect. You cannot tell me that he believes that he's truly morally correct in how he lives his life. And matter of fact, for example, did you see his interview that he made it where OnlyFans girl met up with her biggest donor?
I know what you're talking about because I've seen like 2 clips from it, but I didn't actually watch it.
So the whole time, the guy, and by the way, he's given I don't know her name, but he's given this girl over $1 million, over $1 million.
Yeah, that's just like pathetic.
Yeah, and so anyways, Clav gets this girl and gets this guy and meets them together, and then basically hosts an interview between them, and it says, hey, this is your biggest donor. Hey, this is the girl you're paying to receive all these videos from. And the first thing the guy says to her is, "You're a little fatter than person than I thought you would be." And
Wow.
and this goes on to say, and which I watched an episode from Michael Knowles earlier, and I don't really care for Michael Knowles because the whole Daily Wire thing, get back to work, Matt Walsh, like I'm all for that, right? But Michael Knowles is like, I feel so bad. Michael Knowles is actually a great guy. He's a great host. I just wish he wasn't on the Daily Wire. Anyway, Michael
Yeah,
Knowles.
I feel the same way about him.
Yeah, but Michael Knowles says, Michael Knowles always tackles the moral aspect of things, and it says, what this guy's done? The reason he said this to this girl is because he no longer views her as a human being. He just views her as a piece of meat for his own desire.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and so Clavicular calls this out actually, and then tells the woman, and because the guy's sitting there telling the woman, saying, what do you bring to the table in a relationship? Where do you want to go? What's your hobbies? Whatever it may be. After he just called her fat, and now he's wanting to kind of make things up a little bit so that way he can try and slide in a little bit. But anyway, clavicular, the whole time the girl's sitting there, the guy shakes her hand and she goes wiping it off on her because she doesn't even want to be near the guy after he starts saying this stuff. And it's like, what do you expect? You're selling your body online. You're quite literally a prostitute, but a digital You're a digital prostitute. You have no life. You have no life outside of the screen. You are a digital prostitute. Like, what do you expect? Obviously, some creepy weirdos is going to be paying you and watching your stuff. That's a given. Like, are you surprised? And anyway,
it's weird. It's like the accessibility of money has made you like numb to the effect of like this is what I'm doing. But then when you're actually faced with the reality of like I'm selling my body, it's hilarious how the reversal in attitude occurs because now you're like, why are you trying to like touch me?
yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, and then the whole time the girl's telling Clav saying, "Hey, he's creeping me out," and then Clav is telling her saying, "Okay, well you have nothing to worry about," because she's sitting there saying, "You need to protect me," and Clav is saying, "I am protecting you. I have all my bodyguards around you right now. If he makes a move, he's dead." And anyways, but this goes on the show though, the kind of creeps and the kind of darkness that these women get involved with for just money. And anyway, but overall though, do you think there's any hope for these girls to find true love one day?
I want to say yes in the fact that I believe you obviously can if someone truly is going to love you
Yeah.
that much for all your sin and everything you've done. I would say yes. But in the aspect of is it going to come easy? No. No one is going to accept you fully in that exact instance of being like, oh, hi, I know we're meeting for the first time, but I'm an online prostitute. That like if that you were in that position, obviously you would be immediately turned off to that and be like, I don't want to touch you. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I would be the exact same way because it's like that's immoral. Everyone knows it is. And we're not going to put that effort into it saying like, oh, I like that. Like, I don't think anyone's going to be like, yeah, I like that. Like, thank you for telling me. So I'd say if someone truly did love you enough, yes, I think they could. But for all intensive purposes, in like a normal relationship that you or I would have with our significant other, I would say no.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a Bible verse. I'm trying to pull it up right now. But it's a Bible verse, and it actually says, for the lips of the adulterous woman drip honey. Her speech is,
Yes.
I'm trying to remember how it goes, but her speech is as smooth as oil. It's like stay away from the door of her Anyway, I gotta look it up. But anyways, going on the show though, and I really do feel bad for these women. I do, and I say this in the nicest way, but these women have all had very, very, very low IQs growing up, and so they're very
Oh yeah.
vulnerable, very
Because
vulnerable.
it's a lack of dignity too. It's a lack of self-respect. It's a lack of any moral integrity that you have within you, whether they were instilled inside of you to begin with. And it's just like you've devolved into embracing your own natural hedonism that, oh, I can make money in the easiest way I can, which is using my own body. Oldest profession of humanity is literally killing people and selling your own body.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is like I said, I feel bad. I really do, but I don't because I was in high school, man. Like I remember being in high school and me trying and I've only ever had two girlfriends in my entire life. One of them being my first one lasted for 3 years. My one I have now, which is the one I'm engaged to, has lasted 2 years. And so I've never been one of those people that has had multiple and multiple of girlfriends and stuff in high school or middle school or elementary or whatever it may be, right? Never have, never will. I never really desired it. I've always desired seeking true love, but I've never desired of having, somebody to call my girlfriend that was new every single week. But anyways, I remember being in high school though, and being attracted to these girls, and I would go up to them and I would ask them out. And what would they say? What would they do? Ew, you're nasty. And they wouldn't say that about my looks necessarily, but they would say that about, just because I wasn't cool, I wasn't popular. And anyways, going on to say though, the problem, the biggest issue with women in our society now these days is they don't seek what is righteous. They don't seek what is moral. They don't seek what God actually has planned for them. Rather, they try to seek popularity. They seek money, and they just seek sex. It's literally all they do. And honestly, it's quite disturbing, to be honest. It really is, because I was like 15, 16 at the time, and matter of fact, I knew girls in school who was 13 and 14 who was, and I really don't want to use this kind of language on stream, but they were getting ran over, they were getting run by every single guy that was in their class, and I wasn't one of them, but they were basically getting ran by the whole school though, at the age of 14 in middle school. And they grow up, and honestly, a lot of it has to do with parenting, because they grow up and they see how their parents live their lives, and especially coming from a single mother household, since the government is more in favor of giving the children to the mother than the father. They grow up around the mother, and the mother being statistically more vulnerable to sleeping with multiple guys and bringing that crap to the house. The kids who live in the single mother households sees this and watches it and grows up around it as a life example their whole life, and so they feel as if they need to live that kind of lifestyle. So that's really what the result is of all the OnlyFans models and stuff out there. It's just a result of having no father in their life, is really what it comes down to.
Pretty much.
But anyways, yeah, you're looking really tired, man, and I'm getting pretty tired too. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. What's that?
So I've been up early today.
Yeah, no, man, you're good. I'm gonna start wrapping this up. I'm pretty tired myself, man. I'm ready to go to bed. I'm ready to lay down and watch some TV. And honestly, I don't know. Do you watch regular show?
Oh, dude, I remember when I was on the TV still.
Yeah, did you see they released a new season for it?
I haven't watched it yet, but I did hear about it.
I watched the first episode of it yesterday, and it was actually good. Look. I hate the new SpongeBob. I hate any new cartoon, or I hate any old cartoon that has a new season. Like I love King of the Hill, for example, but I hate the new season of King of the Hill.
I heard it was like terrible.
It was awful. It was so bad. But let me tell you, the new season of regular show is actually good. And I watched the first episode of it, and I was like, this is actually really good. And I have to watch the rest. I know there's right now there's only 4 episodes released for it right now. But it's actually really good. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Go ahead and hop off stream and watch some regular show.
I like it. Very productive conversations we had tonight. I loved it.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, sometimes whenever I start stream, I don't really know what to talk about until I actually start talking. And just, that's why I never
always go with the flow.
What's that?
I always go with the flow. You kind of have to.
I know. It's literally how streams work. It's I can sit here and title the stream something all day long, but I know even if I do, for example, if I title the stream about the Iranian war or whatever, right, then I know that 15 minutes after talking about it, I want to talk about something else.
It's going to be something else.
Yeah, and so that's why I always just put nightly segment or nightly news. It's literally that's why I do that, because I never know what I'm going to talk about. Anyways, I'm going to let you go, man. It was nice talking to you.
Of course. It was always a pleasure.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
I'll see you.
All right. All right. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe and drop a like, because dropping a like helps my algorithm. It helps your boy's algorithm, okay, guys? Drop a subscription to the channel and keep up with us. My throat is so dry right now, by the way. I need a drink. I really do. Oh, man. What do you think about my boy Nico? I like him a lot. He's a cool dude. We're going to have him on the show another time. I don't care what you guys think. We're having Nico back on at another point. I can barely even talk right now. Really, I can barely even talk. But, dude. Oh, man. I'm so tired, bro. And I got to get up early, too. I got to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I got to go do some fishing. So, anyway. If you have any, I don't know, suggestions on how we can do the show better, feel free to drop it in the comments. Any constructive criticism is welcomed. If you enjoy the show, go ahead and drop a subscription. Go ahead and subscribe and drop a like. And I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching Florida Frontier. Everybody out there who is watching, y'all all have a very nice night.